brought to you by Ford, your Texas Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. Here is Stephen Jones. Stephen, how are you today, sir? Merry Christmas. Happy holidays.
Doing good, guys. Great to be on. Happy holidays.
Well, you got a little bit of an early Christmas gift there Monday night with Seattle knocking off Philadelphia. How plugged into that one were you?
Well, of course, you're paying all kinds of attention to it, but certainly, very helpful, especially after our tough game we had up in Buffalo. It's good to still be in the mix here and in terms of in the division hunt and maybe a home game. So all know how important it is to this group. They're winning, home games right now. I think we've got the league record for most consecutive home wins. So nice to see them get beat, but we've got a lot of football to play, and we need to go take care of business this weekend.
Yes, sir. 15 in a row. Quite the home field advantage you have at AT&T Stadium. So how are you feeling about this week's road matchup in Miami against the Dolphins? Another tough test.
I actually feel really good. We knew Buffalo was going to be a tough one, and unfortunately we didn't rise to the occasion to get that one. But, Mike's history here with our team has been that his teams respond well to a tough loss. And I think ever since COVID, we've been I don't think he's dropped two in a row back-to-back, in the last now going almost 3 years in terms of his success after a tough loss. So feel really good about it. We've had a great week of practice. Feel like the guys are dialed in and, feel like we'll go play good football.
Stephen, you have a story about potentially with Tyron Smith maybe missing the football game. We'll see how that all plays out. But the fact that he hasn't practiced during the week, and you guys have managed that really all season long, and he's played at such a high level, but have you benefited from others practicing in his place and taking those first team reps in order to, if something like this were to happen, that your guys are absolutely ready to go and you're not worried about any type of maybe some drop off there with your guys at that position?
Well, anytime you're missing a all-pro tackle like Tyron, potential Hall of Famer, all over his name, it's tough not to have a little drop off. But you make such a great point. Reps are so important in this league to get them, and I don't care what position you play, whether you're a quarterback or you're an offensive lineman or a defensive. They're so important to rep every week. And as you mentioned, because Zach and Tyron, we've been taking good care of them in terms of their reps. Certainly Demarcus Lawrence and anyone else. It's so important, that these guys behind those guys get reps. And I think it'll benefit us. Guys like Awesome Richards and certainly Chuma and guys like that, if Tyron can't go Sunday, then it certainly benefits that they've been able to get reps.
Is there any more clarity to the offensive line and who might be available yet?
We're, feeling really good about Zach at this point. I would say Tyron's still a question mark, but certainly not ruled out.
How much is the game plan affected when you're down a lineman and you've got to go with an Udoga or some of these reserves like you were talking about?
Excuse me, I missed that.
How much is the game plan affected or changed whenever you're playing with a backup offensive lineman?
Not much. I mean, we feel really good about our depth in the offensive line. Certainly Chuma's played in the league for a while. He'd be the next guy up if Tyron can't go. TJ Bass did an amazing job, I think, filling in for Zach the other night. I really thought he did a really nice job. And, feel like our guys will answer the bell. Obviously, you have drop-offs when you don't have Hall of Fame type players in Tyron and Zach, but we feel like we've done a good job with our depth.
Stephen, it was pretty evident, the difficulties with the run defense the other day there in Buffalo, and you're dealing with another team that's a really good perimeter run defensive team. Is it one of those things that it's like, is there things that you absolutely can do, or is it, hey, we just have to play better at certain spots? We didn't play well enough scheme-wise in this one, because, again, I don't know who's going to come walking through that door to help, but you feel like that maybe you have a little bit better handle what you might need to do scheme-wise to deal with a team that has, say, like the Dolphins, that are pretty good perimeter run offense.
Yeah, I think, Brian, you know better than anybody, it's all about the run fits. It's all about the energy. It's all about the play style. And I think unfortunately, against the Bills, I think we were lacking in those areas.
Sure.
And certainly I know Dan's going to dial up a hell of a game plan. We've done a great job many times this year stopping the run. Certainly the Dolphins will be a challenge, as you said, on the perimeter with Mostert and A-Chain. So, they bring a lot of juice, in all positions. So it'll be a challenge. But at the same time, I think it's, a challenge that we can meet head on and feel like we'll execute and do a good job.
Stephen, I remember talking to some of your scouts post-draft when Tua was selected, and they were talking about there was a lot of respect for him as a player there at Alabama, and a guy that you guys had a lot of really complimentary words about. When you sit down and you visit with your coaches and watch your own tape, what do you even appreciate more about Tua's game since the times he was with Alabama?
Well, I just think their staff's done a great job with Tua and bringing the best out in him, what he does best. And he certainly, it seems like, embraced their scheme down there in terms of what they're trying to accomplish. And not unlike Alabama, he's got a lot of fast, skilled guys, that he can get the ball to. The receiving core, as you mentioned, the running back core. It's a great group, but he's certainly executing, what that staff is trying to do in terms of offensive philosophy. They do some very unique things, and Tua's doing a great job executing. Hats off to him, and certainly we'll have our hands full trying to slow them down.
Stephen Jones with us here in the GBag Nation on 105.3 The Fan. Mozzie got considerable more playing time last week with Hankins out. What's your assessment been of him so far in his development during his rookie season?
I think he continues to get better week in and week out. He's reshaping his body. He lost quite a bit of weight there in terms of, trying to, get some of his quickness and reshape his body. He'll put that weight back on, I'm sure, the right way, which a lot of young guys do out of college. But, he just continues to get better each week. I know Dan's very comfortable with him, and I know he'll be ready for this game against the Dolphins, and look forward to him, playing at a high level.
We get a lot of calls and texts hosting the post-game show, Brian and myself, about the penalties. Now, you only had 5 penalties, which is not bad last week, but some of them were more costly than others. What are some of the things that you guys do behind the scenes leading up to game day to try and fix some of those penalty concerns?
Yeah, I think, there's, you got your procedural penalties, your pre-snap penalties, and, those are hard to live with. When you have aggressive-type penalties, they're playing hard. And, D-Law is obviously an aggressive player. That's not like him to get a roughing the passer, but he does play the game fast, and he plays it hard. And, you're going to get some of those when you're playing the way he plays. Certainly the block kick the same way. I mean, Sam's trying to make a big-time play, and unfortunately just didn't go through the techniques that we're coaching in terms of actually blocking the kick. But he did an amazing job getting back there. And, those are the things that are going to happen when you play aggressive. Certainly the curse penalty, on the defenseless player, it's a tough penalty, man. But he's trying to be aggressive and make a play. So those are all things that, you want to clean them up. And but you're going to have some of those when you play fast and you play hard and you play with the play style, that we want our guys to play with. And, that comes with it. But at the same time, I can assure you our coaching staff's trying to clean those up and keep those to a minimum in terms of, the plays where you're really trying to play physical and play hard and play fast.
Stephen, I know we're all looking forward to the matchup with Lamb and Ramsey there. Just 2 outstanding football players that are going to be going after each other throughout this game. Do you ever find yourself, and I know we all kind of follow the ball and stuff like that, but do you ever just, like, for 6-7 plays, just watch those two, or when you get that kind of a matchup, just watch those guys go at it and kind of get a little bit more appreciation about what you're seeing?
Absolutely. I mean, first of all, it's hard not to watch CD.
Yeah, exactly.
Period. In terms of the way he plays the game, the success he has play in and play out. He's always a great player to watch. We're fortunate we have players like that. A guy like a Dak, a guy like a Micah Parsons, a guy like a Bland. All those guys are guys that are making big plays on a consistent basis and you do find yourselves at the snap of the ball going to players like that. Certainly it's going to be a great matchup. Ramsey's one of the best in the business in terms of locking down receivers. Obviously, CD's one of the best in the business at beating what Ramsey does. So it'll be a great matchup. It's certainly one that you look forward to watching. It's why fans love to follow our game, is matchups like a Ramsey and a Lamb, and certainly it'll be entertaining to watch that, when we line up against the Dolphins.
Stephen, I know you're highly respected in the league. Your family is very well respected for all the things that you guys have done, and I don't remember seeing a guy like a Mike McDaniel as a coach. He'd be kind of a fun guy to go have a Miller Lite with, wouldn't he? I mean, wouldn't he just kind of be in a weird way, sit on the bus and talk to him?
I've watched these Hard Knocks a little bit here, and I'm very intrigued by him. He's obviously a very, I'm sure, borderline genius type mind in terms of how smart he is, and certainly it shows on the field with the way his team's executing and the way they move the football. And certainly he's a big fan of that pre-snap motion, which gets you on your heels. And, he's just doing a fantastic job down there. And I, like you, Brian, would really enjoy sitting down with him and just talking football because, like I said, I've never been around him. I don't think I've ever met him in person. But what I've seen on the Hard Knocks and seeing what type of guy he is, he's very interesting. And then certainly the success he's having as a head coach down there in South Florida at the Dolphins is he's doing an amazing job for that organization and getting the most out of a lot of great football players.
Stephen, I have a feeling, though, as soon as there's an opening on your competition committee and it's in the coaching level, I think you need to go get him on your committee. I think he'd come up with some crazy fun ideas.
He'd be sitting in that room, and bring a lot of great ideas.
He would. It'd be fun.
He's creative.
He's very creative. He's probably a lot of fun to hang out with too. That kind of guy.
No question. Hats off to him, and I'm sure he'd be a great addition to any type of committee he'd be on. With his knowledge and certainly the way he looks at the game.
So you had Buffalo last week, Miami you get to visit now this week. These are two road teams that you don't get to play much. I mean, once every 8 years. Where's Miami rank in the hierarchy of your favorite road cities to go to?
Well, we've had some great ones down there. Certainly one that comes to mind because it's going to be near and dear to our heart with Jimmy going in the Ring of Honor. Was when Switzer and was coaching our team, and we took the Cowboys down to South Florida. To play against Jimmy. And certainly we were fortunate in that we had a lot of success in that particular game, but certainly one that I'll always remember because of the rivalry there once Jimmy had left, going to play them down in South Florida, where he not only had success in Miami, but at the University of Miami as well, winning national championships there. And, certainly one of the greatest coaches to coaching our game. So anyway, it'll be great to go down to South Florida. It'll be obviously a great matchup. They're one of the best in the AFC. Certainly we feel like we're one of the better teams in the NFC, and it'll be a great matchup.
Well, Stephen, I know from working with you and Lace, I think you guys were down there for a Super Bowl one time, and Lace called me up on the phone and says, "Hey, come get me at the airport. I've had about enough. I'm coming home." So you guys down in Miami have a good time down there for sure.
Hey, we will, guys. Great being on.